Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Trade the Pool live stream. It's Tuesday, and you're here with me, Scott, and Money Mitch. How you doing, Mitch?
What's going on, team? Ready to get back after it. Of course, a little red day yesterday, but we're going to bounce back. We're going for that green today. Let's get after it, team.
All right, so we just took a little tank on the NASDAQ on the overall market. In the Globex session, we were just running side to side in a little channel until that news come out, and then we dropped down smack just to the top of a buy-side liquidity pool, and now we're kind of ranging again, so a little bit of a decision to be made on the open. I think at the moment currently sitting in a buy-side pool here. Actually, that is a buy-side pool we're sitting in right there. So that's going to hold price unless the open can push us below, down further into the one sitting there below on the bigger time frame. Else, if we pop up from this area, we're looking at 17863 or 17877 to see if we can get a sell up there at those levels. We'll be looking at those stocks and those tickers. So throw your tickers in the chat. We'll look at what we can. In the meantime, Mitch, what you got?
All right. Well, a lot on the list, of course, today. We'll talk a little bit about what's coming up this week. Of course, FOMC meeting coming up tomorrow. We'll see what happens with the rates as the market is, of course, pricing in just 1/4 percentage point cut in 2024. But let's get to the earnings that are out there this morning. A lot on the docket. First up, of course, we'll do Mickey D's. Of course, McDonald's actually taking a major hit here, missing on EPS, $2.70, missing the 272 estimate. Sales at 6.17 billion, beat the 6.16 billion estimate. If you want, I'll help you out, Scott, there. I'll just put up my charts that way we can see McDonald's here. As you can see, that's taking a major beating. And of course, with that economic data that came in at 8:30, knocking the market down, this continuing to leak right here. We'll see what happens on McDonald's today, but I don't remember the last time I grabbed myself a McChicken or a Big Mac, but we'll see what happens if McDonald's can bounce back today. Let's keep going. Let's go to the big stock of the day, right? Eli Lilly. Look at that nice little jump off of their earnings. This is based on a nice beat, 258 on the EPS, beat the 246 estimate. Sales of 8.76 billion, missed the 8.92 billion estimate. But when you revise your estimate guidance to 1350 and 14 versus the prior guidance of 1220 and 1270, well, not looking too bad on that EPS guidance. Definitely Eli Lilly, of course, driven by the weight loss drugs. This has been a massive move. I still remember when I was trying to buy this at 330. I mean, we're close to breaking 800. We'll see if it's able to break 800. Definitely some big resistance up there towards that 800. We'll find out what happens there on Eli Lilly. Another favorite out there, I see even mentions in the chat already. Noel's on it. PayPal, right? Well, PayPal trying to get above that 70. Can it finally reverse the trend? This has been an insane long downturn for PayPal since before 2022. Still down about 78% from the highs there, but nice numbers coming in here. Adjusted EPS of $1.08, missing the estimate, but sales beating here at 7.7 billion, beat the 7.51 billion estimate. So PayPal getting a little bit of a jump. Whenever I see PayPal move, I always take a look at Block to see if maybe that can get the nice little jump. And of course, this one had a nice little gap up, has come back and pretty much filled the gap now. Now when we take a step up and come back towards the 80s, this is something that will definitely be on my radar. But that's the earnings stocks today. There's more on the radar tonight. We'll talk a little bit about them during the show. But Scott, what are we seeing in maybe some small cap land? Anything you're seeing out there?
It's a little quiet in small cap land this morning, really. I have MRIN this morning, which has pumped, but it's been here before. We've kind of been off to a benchmark previously and pulled back. Since then, though, we have had a reverse stock split 1 for 6, so that can always see a run up. Just not sure if it's going to be massive. The two new benchmarks I have on this one is kind of sitting up here at 425 and 470. There'll be a gap in the middle. They literally align with the previous ones before. So that spread at the bottom is almost identical for that push. Else, we've also got the sell side liquidity pool from that previous high back on Wednesday, the 10th of Jan. So we'll see if we can get up there. But it feels a little bit backside at the moment, but just aware that stock split can still have a push. And CYCC was also on the radar this morning. Similar kind of thing. It's already done a run back on the 25th and is kind of attempting that again, smack into its benchmark this morning off of yesterday's pre-market. So we'll see if it can get anywhere higher than that today. Let's just have a look and see where we are for a resting kind of liquidity pool on that one. All the way up to the top. So we've tapped into it on the... We tapped into it earlier in pre-mark and on the opening kind of machine opening on the switch on at 8 a.m. So that's where we're looking. 191 down to 160. If it's going to work its way out of that area, else we're going to take those pre-market highs to the pre-market lows and find where it's going to have that kind of liquidity resistance. Again, acknowledged by that switch on at 8 a.m. this area already. So it's given us kind of a little hint as to what may happen this morning. So sell side up there around 240, 250 on CYCC. 190 on the buy side if it can hold. Of course, same as usual, if either of these levels fail and we close above, that can see the momentum come in. We'll listen out for it on the tape and try and get you in, let you know what's going on there.
Definitely excited for the day, ready to get after it. Going to be looking at what's going to go on in sectors and industries today, right? Yesterday, kind of a little bit of a mixed day, but definitely starting to see utilities actually really present an opportunity as we look into the sectors. You guys can see how this is really starting to change tune, especially from the beginning of the year. And now that, we're really starting to get back above this kind of trend line, I have like an equally weighted index here. So this is something that I definitely look after. And utilities have a tendency of holding patterns once they really get moving. So NextEra on the radar, of course, Duke on the radar, names like that, right? Keep your eyes on those names. Dominion Energy looking interesting as these start to kind of prop up. Definitely something that I'll watch. Energy has been hot lately. Definitely. We'll look to see if this can continue. XOM kind of hanging in there yesterday. Have a decent day. Chevron getting me out yesterday, but still the green trend continuing. We'll look to see if this really starts to take off. Another area that we saw yesterday move was healthcare in medical devices, and that was all led off of course, Philips news. It's back down towards maybe the gap area. Will this one kind of close this gap back down, or will we see another lift there? Something to keep on watch. In basic materials, I've been seeing copper and gold been hot. One area that I'll keep on watch is maybe coal starts to get a little bit of a move. I always try to trade BTU. It's been nowhere land since pretty much last year, October. We'll see if coal can start making a move there. And then, of course, technology, big watch as a lot of big earnings coming from technology. And, of course, tonight we'll be getting AMD, we'll be getting SMCI and others to really come in here and maybe shake up the space. So find out what happens tonight. And, of course, stay tuned tomorrow as we'll cover all of these earning plays and see which one gets moving.
All right, I'm going to take a look at a stock we had on there yesterday just to see if there's any follow through today. This was the stock that we was trading there. Our Trader Life was in yesterday and he was on this one as well. He was selling this. You're trying to get $1 out of it. Well, we broke that buy side liquidity pool that we was toying with. I think we got in and got out there and then it just faded for the rest of the day. Trying to see where it come from to see if there's anything else left on it. So we're certainly still kind of holding up in that 50% range of where it is. So we're just tapping into that halfway house. So it doesn't mean it's over for it today. But PHG has a sell side pull up here at 28.89 if it's got the legs on it today. If not, we're sitting in between these two pulls here. Again, bit sparse volume on this one, not like yesterday, but we are ranging between these two areas. And I think depending which one breaks out on the open is kind of where we're going to go. We're either going to attempt to get back up there to 29s and then reverse off, or we're going to drop through and continue to fade for the rest of the session. So we'll see what we get on PHG there. Who's in the chat? Let's have a look. Kanish, welcome. Scott C, Nolly. Put your tickers in there. What have you got here? Let's have a look. Dave G, good morning, everyone. How you doing? It's great to see you out there. Money Mitch, there's one. So trade the pool.
You like that one, right?
Hanish, you got a lot on your watch. GMM, MRIM, BRTX. Oh my God, you're going to be a busy boy. We'll take a look at a couple of them in a sec for you. What's the relative volume looking like today? What have we got on the top of the... so I've got a couple of scanners on the go here to bring these in.
There we go.
ST, THC, and PayPal. If we're looking at those earning players, we've got the green earnings currently and the red earnings currently. That's what it currently looks like. If you're looking at those earnings play this morning, so have a zoom in on there. Mitch has already covered a few of these as well, but they're the other ones that are out there. If we want to take a look at those, give us a shout and we can zoom in on any of those that you like.
Yeah, interesting names there with THC showing up. A lot of times I'll take a look to see what's going on in the space. Of course, you guys can keep your eyes on some of the bigger ones in here. DVA is one that I'll put on the radar, at least just from looking at that. But it looks like you got Phillips up here. That's interesting to definitely take a look into. Of course, that was a big move yesterday. But in medical care, which THC falls under, DVA, one of the leaders in that space.
Just looking at MMM was on the offer as well. There, so that's let me have a look at that on the higher time frame. So MMM is one here that, so this was a benchmark play that kind of worked itself out in the beginning of April, and this is where its initial buyer side liquidity is resting. One was down here kind of 82, but it's stayed between those two and then just broke out today. So it'll be interesting to see, because that benchmark, is still there, how far this has got to go on it today on MMM, or whether this is going to be like we look back on the weekly or the daily in a couple of days' time and see if this is just a spike. So it'll be interesting to watch this morning as well, see if that can push any higher on the open. That's MMM.
All right. Of course, in the drug manufacturer space, with Eli Lilly getting a nice lift, one area that we can be looking at is to see if any of these other drug manufacturers can get a nice little push on today. Of course, AZN has had a huge gap up lately. I'm going to keep an eye out on some of those drug manufacturer names. NVS is one that maybe has a nice little pullback off this 95. Of course, that one kind of moves hand in hand. AbbVie was one that we were looking at even yesterday. Pfizer, this has been a dog, man. We'll see when one day Pfizer turns around, but it just keeps getting destroyed there. And drug manufacturing has been hot as of late. This is one that I don't focus on often. OGN as of late probably been added on here. But of course, you guys can also take a look at XLV for the health sector overall to see if maybe this can get a lift today. We'll find out. And then, of course, let's take a look at some of the ones that are mentioned in the chat. I saw some lists earlier, so we can go through some of those. And if you guys have any stock on the radar, definitely hit the like button. And like always, one of the things that I think YouTube does really cool is if you look down below right now at the subscribe button, of course, you'll see it shine up. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe. Let's go, guys. Let's get it going. And let's see what we can come up with today. Of course, remember that you guys run the show also. So if you guys see a setup, a trade, or maybe just a conversation. Maybe you guys want to talk about a strategy. Throw it up here. Like always, we're here to try to educate you guys and help you guys move forward. And like I always say, we're here to pay it forward for you guys. Let's hit the like and let's keep going. Let's find some good trades today. And let's get into the green. Let's see what happens. I'm seeing a booking showing up a little bit. I wonder how travel stocks have been doing lately. I know Airbnb was one that I really liked earlier in the year. And that's already done pretty decent for the year. We'll see if maybe some leisure stocks can get moving. Airlines was one that I made a recent trade on before kind of the end of the year. That was a good one, but they have gone nowhere lately. So I know that Stellantis had news today, so let's just touch a little bit on that. Stellantis taking a big beating today, and a lot of this coming off of the decline in Q1 revenue impacted by reduced sales and foreign exchange fluctuations. Of course, this is the company that has brands like Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Maserati. And what are they bringing to the table? Those EVs, of course, and they've been struggling. So Stellantis taking a big hit today. Will that continue to affect Tesla? One thing that's for certain is that EVs haven't been as hot this year as some has expected. So maybe this starts to affect Tesla. I know that Tesla's gone sideways yesterday, pretty much kind of getting back up towards the top. But this morning, of course, pre-market right back down there. We'll see what happens on Tesla, Ford, and GM for this instance. You can see how GM's already kind of cutting right back down. I think that's more on the Stellantis news. If Stellantis is struggling, I can see GM and Ford coming back down. Tesla's a little bit of a different beast. It could maybe shake this news, but the other auto manufacturers, be careful out there. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, looking at that, NIO was on the scanners early. Like first thing this morning, NIO was kind of one of the first to pop. And having a look at that one, so, those benchmarks I like to play, that accumulation that appears at the bottom after a sell-off, which we've certainly seen in NIO as well. And that's just worked its way out of that accumulation zone. It's hit its target one there on the pre-market. But generally, when it does this is kind of what I look for, is to try and fill that whole kind of gap here. So that for me would be the trade. It doesn't have to go straight up necessarily. It can work its way back and fall through these levels. But ultimately, I would expect to see 6 on NIO at some point. If this week or perhaps next week, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, there's definitely room on NIO to the upside. As far as I can see anyway.
All right, we'll be looking at MRN towards the open, see if maybe we can get a little bit of a dip here. Quick dip towards the 318 to 309 range is on the radar for me on MRIN, somewhere in this space. Reason why is if I scroll back here, I can see how this was kind of acting as resistance, and we rejected this area before. Now we got above it, a little bit above it towards the 386. Have pulled back multiple times, so I'm looking for maybe a little bit of a quick dip, then get bought up. I wouldn't really want to see it get back even below the 315 right out the gates. Then let's see if it comes right back towards the 350s, 360s. Gives an attempt to come towards a trend line break, right? If we can start to make our way back here, this is going to be looking pretty good on the day. This is probably the top play in the smaller names for me, at least for the day. We'll see what happens with this play.
So what's that? You're thinking a kind of dip buy on that then?
Yeah, exactly. A quick dip out the gates, and you just see some big sizing come right in as soon as it comes up and then starts to work its way back. I think we can maybe make our way towards 350s. And a lot of times I'll try to draw out kind of like what I can see, right? So in my eyes, this is how I kind of would approach it. It kind of just comes back down into this little gap space, fills that, gets some buyers to come back through, hits the trend line. Then I'll look for a little bit of a dip and then a real take out of that 350. And then, if we wanted to, we could do measurements. Sometimes I do this. I don't use it as often. It's kind of more of just a measurement, kind of measure the flag pattern here. And then what do we got here? $1.25. So maybe $1.25 from kind of the breakout stage. Maybe we can get back up there towards like a 425. That doesn't seem too bad on the day to maybe look at as potential reward. We'll see what happens there. And look what's in the chat. We got to trade the pool out there. Definitely smash it up. What are we looking at? Looking at AMD this morning, Tesla, Mullen. Yeah, Mullen's a crazy one. I don't know if you guys know about that stock. Do you know about that one, Scott?
No. What you got?
That one's an interesting one, and we're talking an EV automaker, right? Mullen, and that one is just like it's incredible they're still around. That's one thing I'll say. They do a lot of these kind of reverse splits and kind of raising money, and I've been one of the people that have reached out to them. I have publicly reached out to them and said, I want to drive one of these EVs. I want to test drive one. I still have yet to receive an answer back, guys. So just to put that out there, I've done a couple of test drives of some vehicles, and I don't think Mullen's going to happen anytime soon. But can this get a spike? Yeah, but don't forget, this had a 1-for-100 split back in December 21st. So I always try to warn people about that. There's a reason why it's trading so high, right? Another thing to point to is scroll back. At the height, because of the splits that this company has had, you want to know the all-time high? It would be like in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's $326,000.
It's the biotech of the electric car vehicle industry.
It makes biotech seem easy.
Yeah, look at that.
It makes that split game there. But does it move? Does it move fast? Yes. This is definitely one of those that I would put high risk out there, but it has already made a big move in the pre-market. So let's be careful out there. It's already kind of gone like a 41% at the high there, still up about 21 from yesterday's close. We'll see what happens on that one. Boogie Woogie, that might be for you, man. The Boogie Woogie stock here, Mullen. We'll see what happens.
So I got that one. Momentum could come in if we break and close above that 740, 745 area on this one right now, sitting smacking its buy side liquidity pool from pre-market. So there is a benchmark there, which is why it's kind of held up. We gave us that little head shoulders in the post market yesterday, and then we've taken that second attempt at it today. So for me, it's really key to see if we can get above there for any more momentum to the upside. Else, we'll see again. We're just trapped between those two pools right now, so we'll see what we get on the open.
All right, guys, about less than 6 minutes here for the open, ready to get after it. Like always, drop in those stocks. Let's see what you guys want to take a look at. Any news on video contest results yet? I'm gonna have to find out about that. I'm sure we'll be asking in the background to see what happened with that. And man, I didn't get in that video contest. I should have, Dips. But we'll get after it, of course. And looks like Trader Life has a stock for you, Scott, to take a look at.
Let's have a look. ST. So Trader Life was just before you jumped on there talking about that pick from yesterday and how it, you caught the all-day fade on that, not just $1 in the end. But yeah, that was a good shout yesterday. Let's take a look at ST, what we've got here. So coming off these lows right at the bottom here, see what you can line up. Yep, so we have the breakout of that zone. We've pulled out into it. Let's just put that on there quick, and then we'll have a look at the what we got here. 5 minutes. So there is the first benchmark there. There'll be one well above that. I'm just trying to see if we did pull back into that buy side pool to hold it, just to see if we've got some cross. So we did hold that twice, and then we've broke. So that's cool. So let's just bring that scale down a little bit so I can see where benchmark 2 is, just in case it wants to go for a run up above there. So we're looking at about 56. Looking at about 56, dependent on market cap on that one. I have to take a quick look to see if it's likely to head for 2 or for 1, but definitely lower time frame. Not huge volume on that at the minute, but let's see. But yeah, so we're into a benchmark. Trader Life is the answer. So we'll see if we get that push. And you know what I like to see, that second push into a sell side liquidity pool. So if we do try and push on the open, seeing if that fails, then pull back to that sell side liquidity. And if that then holds, then we could see something short on there. But let me know what you're thinking on it, mate. That's just what I'm thinking. What are you thinking on ST there, Trader Life?
Jesse, it's good to see you in the chat. It's good to see you guys. Definitely say hello. If you're new to the show, say hello. Don't be scared, man. Say hi. It's always good to be friendly, and this is where community is here to support you. Chegg. Chegg. I think that was earnings getting really collapsed on earnings. Am I correct on that, Scott? I think I saw it really taking a beating earlier. And yeah, you can see it. That's still taking a beating. Of course, that's the education service. I used to rent books from Chegg when I was in school. So that's pretty much what they do. They do a lot of renting. They tried to get into a lot of education during the pandemic, but that didn't kind of backfired on them. They're down to 621 when this company was at one point, even during kind of some split adjustments. This was at 110 at one point. It's tough to be in the Chegg environment and in the educational space overall. This company reminds me kind of how the Chewy chart looks like, where Chewy used to be looking like it was so good because it just gets sent to your house. Well, I mean, look at it. It's at $15 and continuing to go down. Some of these stocks are pretty tough. Definitely. Who hasn't rented from Chegg? I'm sure you guys have, especially if you went to college. All right.
Long story short, with sorry, Mitch. Just saying, Trader Life's got his a long story short ST, so he's definitely regardless of any other analysis, benchmark wise or not, he's still going short on that. nice one.
Hey, sometimes we need the contrarian out there. One of the things is that sometimes making the complete opposite play can actually turn out to be beneficial.
Right, if it's the right time.
Yeah, that's the truth. And one of the things is if everybody looks for one thing and you get the opposite, well, be on that side, my friend. Trader Life, you let us know how that goes for you and what stocks you're finding out there that are working for that strategy. We'll see what happens today. Definitely got to keep an eye out to see what happens in tech. Amazon's going to have earnings, right? Like there's so much out there that could get a big move. SMCI could get a big move before the earnings. So keep your eyes open for that team. A lot of action coming. It's 9:28, almost to the bell here. Well, we got a couple of minutes left here, 2 minutes left, a little bit under that.
So just looking back at the NASDAQ then, just to see, it's literally just putting in a kind of nice, relaxed little channel at the moment after that news. So we'll just see if it's got anything else there. We'll see if we get that pop and how it handles this 870 area up here. Else it's got a magnet down there still at that big wide zone down at 788. Just keep an eye on.
All right. We'll see what happens. Also, I'm going to be taking a look at the industrial area, XLI, CAT, those types of stocks. I do like to trade those. It's just more based on what's going on right now. I do see them pulling back, at least for the time being. That drop that we got in the SPY today, did they shake that already? It seems like they're already shaking that a little bit.
It's time!
All right, there it all goes.
Let's get after it. All right.
Okay.
All right. First watch for me is going to be MRIN. I'll let you guys know what I do there.
Yep, same. Let's see what happens there. So, little flash red. Now pulling back on the green side on the NQ.
Looking for that 315, and then I can maybe risk off of threes here. Got 315 right there. I'm already getting in here, guys. I just took 100 shares long there on that pullback. So you guys see it right here. Boom, 315, 100 shares. Let's see if this can get back up. I'm going to hold off that 309, probably give it to 308 right now. So about 7 cents is not much at all, but I'm just going to see if this can really just give me that quick little dip buy and spike and see what happens. Try to make a little quick trade, and then we can worry about, kind of going for a little bit longer play in the day.
Just checking CYCC while we're there, see if that's him. So CYCC just kind of pushing down a little bit further into its buy side pull there. So nothing to do on that for me at the moment yet, unless it starts to curl out of there. I'd like to see it up at 240s if we're getting short on that.
Carmen, it's good to see you in the chat. It's definitely been some good time. Let me know what you're seeing out there. Carmen, you got good eyes.
Hey, Shah, good morning. How you doing? And Tiny.
All right, right out the gate, I can see it's at least from the open, a lot of red out there. So be careful. Technology, the only sector in the green from the open. We'll see what happens. Disney's on my radar for shorts. That's going to have to flush through 111 today. I like kind of the VBAP rejects type of trades. We'll see what happens on that one. As Disney potential for a short play later.
Bit whippy at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. All right, MRN is not coming back down here. So I'm going to go ahead and just try to take a shot here. If I can get like kind of 318s add here, 3 kind of 20 add, and then just look for this to start getting that spike, then hold right off the low on the day. There's the spike that I was kind of looking at. Now I need to try to get the pullback fill here. So I'm going to put out 320s on a limit to see if I get the fill. You guys can see it's in between the spread, and sometimes I'm just going to try to get that. We'll see what happens. That's MRIN, but right back to you, Scott.
Yeah, just looking at Neo coming off there. Was looking to see if we could get something on that. I want to see that come down a little bit lower. Let's see what I've got on the levels on coming from yesterday's low to today's high. If I can grab that in 460, it's just almost touching in there right now. So let's see what I can get on Neo. A little bit lower would be nice. That's it. In you go. Right, now just keeping an eye on what happens in here to see if we get some rejection off here. Wilson, what you got, MULN?
Dump on that? Wouldn't you know it? Yeah, that thing dumped pretty quickly out the gates. We'll see if it recovers 670s. Maybe a rejection of 660s on the pop. Doesn't look too bad. It's a short opportunity too, right? That's the fun part of trade the pool. We don't have to only go long on those names. We can maybe look for some shorts on that Mullen.
So that's a breakdown of that buy side pour. See if I've got anything lower to go with. Yeah, we will certainly have.
MRIN just not going anywhere right now. I'm holding it to the low of the day right now, 313, but still no movement. It did get up there towards 326, but really needs to take out kind of the 330, 340 and get up there to 350 in a quick manner. All right, starting to see technology still holding the lead on the downside. Energy today getting a quick flush. Utilities getting a quick flush. Communication services, even cyclical names. So just be careful out there. Definitely seeing a little bit of a quick pullback out the gates today. How's the overall market looking here? SPY is getting a little bit of a jump. So is the Qs. Interesting to see that with only technology names kind of taking lead. We'll see what happens there. Names on the upside, I got On Semiconductor, I got Tesla getting a nice little lift to start the day. Google, Nvidia, nice little push there. That can start helping some tech names. Micron coming through here. Marvell showing up as it was down earlier in the day. So definitely some tech names leading there. Adobe with a nice little move. And then, of course, AMD on the radar as they have earnings after the bell. PanW, we tried to play the 300 yesterday. Now it's pulled back. Will it make another 300 run? We'll find out. All right, let's go back to MRIN. Starting to get a nice little pop there. Got up there all the way to 338s, but now just needs to keep going. So I'm in it here. Willing to take kind of 325s on pullbacks to see if this can really start getting going, but we'll just stick with the sizing that we have right now as it's already gotten away from us. Let's just see if this can pop above the 330s, get to the 350s. I can take half of it off and just look for this to keep pushing.
Still looking for Neo deeper into that buy side. Not seeing any significant bids coming in down here. Certainly nothing on the tape of any sort of size coming in at the moment. So it's just still waiting on that one. What else we got in there? CYCC coming off. Same kind of thing on CYCC.
I got AGBA showing up on the gainers and losers list on Trade the Pool. So maybe that's one to take a look at. AGBA, definitely a smaller name, just got above the $3 spot. Big spike on the day. Daily chart has a lot of spikes and drops. We'll see what happens if this one can hold 3 on pullbacks. Mullen bouncing a little bit there. We'll look to see what happens on that one. All right, MRIN not really going anywhere, but at this point, it's just going to let it work for the position. I got a good entry here, so I'm going to risk the smallest amount and just let this work so I can go look elsewhere.
Just took a short on Tesla for the time being. It's just it just tacked into its best execution level at the top side here, so that's in there at 191.6. Buyers I'd expect to come in down here at 85.22. So I'm just keeping an eye on see if we can get some direction on the day from the NQ at the moment. To see if that can help that along. If not, I'll just take that risk off at the highs. So we just missed that sell side on the NQs, starting to come off, trying to break out of that channel as well. But if you look at it from kind of where it's been in the last kind of hour or so, it's still pretty much sideways there until it can make a push out of that 810 area. So let's see what we got.
Trying to see if I can get a MACD crossover here on the MRIN on the 5-minute. It's just hitting the trigger line, but it still hasn't really crossed over. Would like to see it get back over the 0 line. That's right here. You guys see the little crossover here on the MACD. I made it bigger so you guys can see it. Let's see if this wants to just take off here. It has the opportunity here to get that nice little push. If not, if we don't go on this kind of next move, I'm probably just going to take the profits off. It is kind of continuing to the upside. Just needs to do a little bit of a takeoff move here. There goes AGBA.
Yeah, we got some money coming in. I've just heard that flag up on the tape, that MRI. Let's see if that's going to...
There we go. That's not looking too bad there. MRIN at the 332 spot. Let's see if this can get going here. At least it was a nice pre-market approach, right? Regardless of the way the trade goes, a lot of the times I want to have like an approach and then try to execute on it. It was a quick red to green towards the 315, and I got in at 315. So I think that's an important thing there. Definitely got to kind of catch that when you do it right. All right, here's the 337s. Can we just get the pop towards the 340s and 350s? As we do that, I will go ahead and sell out half and then keep the remainder, break even on the rest. Just a little bit more. I just need a quick pop.
A little bit more on the tape for you.
Bids coming up. That's not a bad sign. It's tightening up here. Let's see if we get a little bit of an expansion move and gets up above the 340s. I'll try to sell some into that close to the 350 mark. Don't have to be exact at 350. Just want to take some off here and pay myself, get myself into the game today. Let's get after it, team.
ST working its way off of that 43 level as well. Trader Life, that's your call.
Yeah, 20,000 shares is sitting up there at the 339, using the market depth to kind of see where the wall is right there on MRIN. I can see it right around the 339 spot. That's where we're struggling right now. We got close to that. We went to 339 and quickly rejected that. So just keeping an eye on to see if we can hold kind of the 320 level. For sure, not going to let it get through there. But that's just kind of the way to work it right now. It needs to recover that 339. That's where it's fighting and struggling. All right, we're approaching back towards my entry here. Could stop me out here. Just got to pay attention here. There's a quick little drop. Let's see if it's a little bit of a shake, but I am looking to maybe get out here on MRIN. Quickly came back down towards the 310s. It's really not much on the loss right now, but just want to focus on this to make sure it doesn't do a wipeout move. Let's see if it does a little bit of a fake out move and then recovers on the 5-minute here. See how the 5-minute rejected here on the crossover. That was kind of what I was also looking for, a confirmation for the move. Not what we wanted to see, at least the rejection of that kind of crossover look.
Just covered that Tesla on that pop. I think it's just closed above the sell side liquidity on that. Let me just double check.
Mullen continuing down there.
Still tying on a momentum play with ST here. It's the first little pullback it's kind of had here.
All right, getting another little down test there on MRIN. Definitely going to go ahead and set a stop here and then just let it remaining work. Just trying to see it recover the 3. Then I'll set the 295 there.
Yeah, there goes the momentum on STT, but it felt like more of a chase. I like to see that, well, 5 bars is about my limit on that for a kind of consolidation momentum play. It seemed looked like it was turning into a bit of a range, so I thought I'm now waiting for that pullback, but we'll see. We'll see what we get. I normally like that to work out within 5 candles. CYCC on the tape. Oh, Tim, you're sitting in the background there. There you go, Tim. You're on stage. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, Tim?
Hey, just finished looking over my Biofarm newsletter. It's funny, I was actually looking at CYCC. Did you say it was just popping on the scanner there?
It was just popping on the tape. It's yeah, I've got it working.
So the note I have, Silacell Pharmaceuticals announced it has entered into agreements for purchase and sale for about 5 million shares of stock and warrants in a private placement. So 5 million shares, $8 million. I'm quite sure what the purchase and sale. So I guess they pulled it off the market and then sold it rather than issuing new ones. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I'll definitely shake up the excitement in the stock, right?
For sure.
We'll see what happens there.
And I was looking at speaking of that, the sector. I was looking at Gilead just sort of accidentally. It just happened to be in that section of my watch list, and they took quite a little blip down there. Comparing to others in the sector, I see Pfizer is sort of pushing up, and Amgen is it was looking weak yesterday, and wow, it just it just really dumped there. I'm getting ready to share my my screen here in a moment.
No worries, Tim. So I'm just looking on this CYCC to if it can. Same thing I do when I'm looking for the short is if it's put that bottom in this buy side pool, it does have further down there. 160 is the bottom of it, but at the moment it's that first push and rejection off. I heard money coming on that tape, so there was some bidders there. Now the question is, can it pull back and hold this kind of micro pull? And if I can then work out of there, then I think we've got some room. Back up there to 230, 240. Let's just grab the VWAP and put that on there, see where we are with that. 215. Okay, so I'll make that first port of call if we can get in this in CYCC.
Still just hanging in there at MRIN. We'll see what happens. Have the stop set at the 295 spot. We'll just hang in there and see what happens on that one. Looking around, team. So if you guys see a big mover you guys like, let me know in the chat. I'll be definitely looking for some.
Now, a couple other ones I have on my list just from the news. I'm looking through just the ones from the scanner, not seeing anything jumping out. But this Senti, and let me know if you already called any of these out, but Senti Biosciences, that is, let's see here, switch to my other window here. That is Senti Biosciences. So they actually announced preclinical data. So they have targeting natural killer cells to target leukemia, which is pretty cool. They had good results in mice, so that's good. And they have a nice, looks like 21% move there from, so there's one of those pennies there, 30 cents to 38 cents looks like. So I know we have quite a few people who like the pennies there. And the other one is BRTX. That's one that's been on the news recently. They just recently entered into an agreement with Cartessa Aesthetics. So they're leveraging their manufacturing with Cartessa's, I'm guessing that's either cosmetics or like collagen retouching. I'm not sure. But BRTX is one that's been on the scanners quite a few times. And then GE Healthcare also just did earnings. So that was a recent spinoff. This might be their first or second maybe earnings report since they did the spinoff. I'm not sure, but yeah, it looks like it's
GE's been an absolute monster since that spinoff. But GEHC hasn't done bad either. I mean, GE's actually pushing right now towards maybe a new high.
Yeah,
Man.
GEHC had, let's see, they went from almost $90 down to 81, so it's quite a hit. Their earnings were actually up slightly. Their profit was up slightly, and their earnings were in line with estimates, 420 to 435. Analyst estimates were 430, so maybe shaded slightly lower, but so I'm not sure what people had baked into that price, or if this is just, you know, more market movement, but it looks like it's off the earnings to me.
Apple pushing towards a new high on the intraday. Definitely seeing some tech lead the day, as that's been in the green since the beginning of the day, up about 0.32% on the sector overall. I'm seeing the Qs kind of hang in there. Top name on semiconductor, definitely getting a nice little push there.
As is AGBA. Wilson, you on that? You have a nice little push there from the open going up. Just trying to see what we've got on that.
That's an interesting one, that WGS. I like that one. Carmen, you usually got good eyes. It doesn't look too bad there. It's been a bit of a battle back and forth. Definitely made a nice move there just recently. We'll see what happens on this one. WGS. Yeah, I'll look for that to keep kind of building sideways, maybe make a little bit of a peak here at the 1480s, then come back towards the 1450 mark, then take out the 15. But this one's not too bad, but the spread is a little wide. Be careful on that WGS. Something to keep an eye out for. Smaller volume too. WGS. And that AGBA, that's been going all day. I think that's up like 68% now. That's definitely a interesting one. That's up there towards 4 now. That's made a nice move there.
Doesn't look like we're getting back to that sell side on it. The momentum play does continue on ST there, so that kind of would have been my target if we'd have caught that momentum play at around 41.20.
All right. What are you guys seeing out there, team? It seems like it's a little bit of a slowdown here as we got just the opening momentum. Now we're seeing a little bit of some slowing down. The Q's right around kind of the pullback area. Let's see if we can come back towards the highs, looking around to see if the market wants to hold here. NVIDIA was one that it was trying to make an early push there. Google, they're kind of holding in there. AMD has been pulling back in the morning. Maybe we get a pullback day and then going towards the end, towards the close, right? They report after the bell. Maybe they sell the open and then eventually buy the close. We'll see what happens. How's that Mullen? The Mullen's coming back, man. That thing moves fast. Be careful out there, team. ST has just been grind down there.
Yeah, got a bit of FOMO on that one.
I'm looking in the comments here. I'm seeing if there's any views. So is anyone in this SNTI? And if so, what's your bias on it? I'm curious. I haven't quite developed a feeling yet, but it's kind of pushing.
Share your charts, Tim, whenever you get a chance.
Oh, yeah.
We can see what you're looking at.
Said it was. I'm not sure what happened there.
Just checking a starter on CYCC. So we've got. There we go. There you go.
Long on that or short?
Yeah,
on
I've just taken it's just a quick look. Sorry, Tim.
Nice.
I'll flip back to you in a sec. Yeah, just as it's working out, I was waiting for that kind of that textbook entry that it fails to get a lower low off of that one, works off, and then I've heard it come in on the tape there. So just long at 187 at the minute. Sorry, Tim, where are you going?
Oh, no worries. I was actually just curious people's take on it. I know we have a lot of people who sort of reflexively short those pennies. So here's one, obviously big move up. It could, potential for a gap down. So I'm just curious if we have anyone in our comments who's looking at that and what their take is, or yours too. I haven't really formed a bias. The news seems positive, but haven't dug into it.
So biotechs overall, healthcare not looking too bad today. Seeing biotechs leading that kind of area right now. So that doesn't look like a bad area to be, at least if you're playing healthcare. Biotechs seem to be where it's at today. There's a couple different names there you guys can be watching. I'm also looking at the XLV overall, seeing here if it can start to hold 141, maybe make a move to 142 today, something that I'll be watching.
Find out what this acronym is. Yeah, Sense is another one that seems to be having a decent little move, 6% so far.
Lilly taking another step up there.
Continuous glucose monitoring, so that's cool. So yeah, the medical, bio and medical, that's sort of my one of my key sectors of interest. I have a background in medical devices, so that's kind of nice because I can sort of apply a little bit of that familiarity and then learn all the things I didn't know. But yeah, we are actually talking Thursday in the Discord. We're talking at 5 p.m. We're going to start going through I believe, Yale course on medical research. So if you're interested in these kind of things, you want to kind of get a sense quickly of, what does this news mean? Is it actually significant? Then that's going to be something we're digging into. We're also going through Martin Shkreli's finance series. So obviously,
there you go. I like to hear about that, Tim. Those are the types of things that I'm interested in. I like that.
So yeah, lots of good stuff this week.
Yeah, in biotech, there's that ELYM That's been doing really well too. That's up about 27% from the open. Smaller name, but definitely still getting a pretty good consistent push there.
I just covered closed CYCC. Just on that push there, that it was on the tape very, very heavily coming through this sell side liquidity pool, and I was expecting that to kind of pop and make a run, but just as soon as it hit that VWAP, it just stopped in its tracks. So it's not to say that it's not on. I still would have liked it to pop up to 240, but not too bad. Not too bad on CYCC. I'll keep a quick eye on it, see if that VWAP has a reaction or not.
Yeah, this
Lost
is kind of
20 on that MRIN, but looking for another play. We'll see what happens.
this is kind of interesting. One of the perennial ones I have on my just sort of list is Colgate Palmolive, so CL. So they have a little, they had a gap up, and it looks like they might be running out of steam here. So there's a gap they could fill from 90.82 down to 90.50, really from like 90.95, 90.95, excuse me, down to like 90.50 and below. And then I'm also looking at Procter and Gamble, and they seem to be sort of fizzling. So I'm looking at those two for a potential short. Because obviously there could be if the gap does get filled, then it's kind of a head start. Man, Target is just getting brutalized. I'm not quite sure why, because other retail is not doing. I mean, Walmart's down too now. Dollar Tree's down.
Walmart's taking a big hit.
I just pulled up.
Walmart's looking good there. And there's news this morning, right? So Walmart had news. So Walmart's closing its healthcare clinics nationwide and reversing its initiative to extend its low-cost service to healthcare. They're going to shut down telehealth service also, which it had acquired in 2021. So that's definitely taking a big hit. Is Costco taking a big hit? No, that's actually coming back up. Just looking at department stores overall, discount stores, definitely seeing Walmart taking the biggest beating there. Target following it. Dollar Tree also coming down there. Big Lots. So looking around to see if maybe some of those plays make sense.
Now, I wonder about Amazon too, because they have, I mean, they acquired PillPack a while ago, and now they actually have their own telehealth thing. Haven't tried it, but you can apparently go and just book a clinic appointment right on Amazon. So I'd be curious if they got any kind of a pop on it, but they seem to just be kind of
AMD coming back fast, guys. So maybe we start to get tech to lift again and then kind of drive the boat. That's what I'm looking for, to see if that can continue. Definitely tech heavy today in the big names. Energy down big and continuing down big. So that was definitely a flip there. Farm products taking a big hit. That's kind of jumping on what you were talking about also. Food distribution, names like that. What you seeing, Scott?
Just on the NQ there, it was that target that I had from earlier, that magnet working our way outside of this or up from this buy side liquidity pool. This was the magnet. It's double topped in there, and now I'm kind of getting that. Can we do it again? Are we going to continue higher? Right now, I need this sell side pool to be the decider for me on the Nasdaq as to what it can do. If it can push and close higher now, then we can push up to this as a bigger zone sitting up there. Nice big fat one sitting up there around 925. Else, if we hold and don't close and reject off this 7881, then we could see some more downside. And you mentioned AMD. Is that doing a similar thing? Okay, yeah. So let's see what both of them can do there.
And while you dig into that, we got a nice response here from see if there's another one. But yeah, Tokido Trades, thanks for that on SNTI. Let's see, the comment is hardly has any volume, so it's challenging to have any bias. Yeah, it's got about 1.5 million, I think. Where did I put that? Yeah, 1.3 or 1.4 million. And hold on, let me and let's see, the comment is with volume it can go to 44 cents to 50 cents. So let me go ahead and pull that back up here. Let's see what we got here. Sorry, I'm a little laggy here. Yeah, I'm not seeing a ton of Well, I mean, certain more relative to previous days, but not a ton. The volume does seem to be falling off as it kind of tests this trend line here. So we will see.
All right, looking at PayPal and Square just on the radar. We'll see what happens. It's done already a big kind of pullback towards the 68 spot. So I'm looking at PayPal can start coming back off the 68 spot. But it's a fast mover, so be careful out there, team. Also looking at Square to see if when PayPal starts to come back, will Square come back also? Of course, block now.
I don't acknowledge that.
Right, I'm with you, Tim. That's why I still call
It's
it
not
Square.
Alphabet either. It's Google.
Right, and it's Facebook, not Meta, but
yeah,
you can change the name. You can dress the pig up how you want it, right?
yeah.
Put some makeup on it, but still a pig.
Yeah. Now PG, Procter and Gamble. Sometimes I'll take PG and CL either against each other, together, whatever. So it looked for a second like PG was showing some more strength, so I decided to take that long, sort of a pairs trade with the CL short. I think my ratios are off, but that's fine. And that is one of the great things now on Trade the Pool. So the I know there's still a few accounts where that's getting sorted out, but the 30% of your daily loss auto stop is being removed, has been removed for most folks. So now if you want to manage risk across your entire account, your entire portfolio, you can do that. So if you want to do, pairs trades, if you want to hedge with ETFs, we had somebody in the Discord talking today about using Soxel. It's a great one. So really opens up a lot more risk management strategies.
Yeah, seeing WGS finally started to get going, and it did do that 450 pullback. Just I never got an entry. I don't know if anybody went after that WGS pullback off the 1450. Now starting to shoot there now towards 1530s. So that one wasn't a bad one. Carmen brought it up in the chat. Are you guys ready for a little bit of some fun time? It's time to wake up out there, and what better way to wake up out there than get into our little bit of a choose segment? You guys, let's check this out. Let's see what we can come up with today. I'll tell you what, guys, if you guys out there just throw up a ticker that you guys want to see traded today, you just might see a nice trade get executed. Let's get after it. Let's hit it. All right, team. Let's see what you guys have up your sleeve. Money Mitch is ready to get after it. Of course, no trades on. Gonna do a little stretch here, get the blood flowing. You guys out there do the same. Let's get going here. Drop in some tickers. What do you guys want to see traded? DK England coming into the chat. I haven't seen you in a long time. Definitely hit the like button. Let's get after it. What stock out there? What's on the radar? What do you guys want to see traded? You guys can put long, short. I'll make the decision on which way I'm going, but you guys call the shot on the trade. So definitely hit the like button. Let me know what stock you guys want to see me come after. Dun, dun. Let's see what we come up with today.
Trader Life's hitting on PHG again. That was the same one from yesterday, but yeah, I can see why you're into that. It's just for me, rejected offer for sell side liquidity at the round number on 27. So see if we can get that pushed down there to 26.5. That would be nice. That one for Trader Life. Anish, how you doing? You've got a GMM BRTX. Oh, you've whittled a few out of that list from earlier on. Then that's good to see.
We got a couple mentions in the chat. I got MGM, Bank of America. Keep it going, guys. I'm gonna pick one in just about. Let's give it 2 more minutes. To 10:07. I'll make the pick from the stocks in the chat. You guys keep throwing them up. Hit the like button while you're at it. And of course, if you're new to the show, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe. Let's go.
Yeah, this is interesting. You following Dare, DARE?
Yeah, that was one of the top movers in biotech this morning. Definitely, we've mentioned it here in the space. It's definitely a leader there. So you guys got to catch that one. Another one, ELYM, a smaller name also. Look at that chart, right? I mean, that chart speaks for itself, up 20%, Dare up 30%. That's a little smaller name, but definitely we're seeing some of those do pretty well. Your SNTI comes up on there, right? You're seeing those types of names doing pretty decent there. A lot of the times what I do is I look by the percentage change from the open to try to find where the biggest moves are. So getting after it, guys. Seeing a couple of names there, AGBA, of course, one of the top movers. This is already up there past 4, holding back towards the 3s. Seeing NVIDIA to the long side. Oh, all right. So NVIDIA is definitely one that we can take a look at, try to come after this. The way that I would come after this is trying to use like kind of hourly pullback. So let's see if we can get a quick little pullback here into kind of the 880 range, somewhere in that range. Just want to see a little bit of a pullback into this spot here, and then see that lift through the 885s. I don't mind trying to take a trade on this. Let's see if we get a quick little pullback here. Just going to look for a nice little pullback into this range, and then I'll take the shot on it to the long side. Definitely smash the like. Appreciate the mention there.
Just checking out. I've missed it, unfortunately, but that was the Neo trade I was kind of hoping for here. It did push right down into that. It looks so aggressive there with those stair-stepping moving averages holding that on the momentum side, but then quickly reversed off and gone to target on that sell side liquidity. So now for me, this is the key area for it to hold. If we can break and close above 472, can have more upside here. Else, this is another possible short on this one. And again, we'll just follow that buy side liquidity up until it basically gets too tight to trade for me. That's kind of the idea I've got on Neo.
I'm liking, I'm still looking at that NVIDIA long here, but I'm also trying to keep a watch on the stock that I was looking at earlier in the day, just trying to see how the market's going to trade it. But right now I'm thinking about a Disney short, because if it can break 111s on the daily, it's going to be definitely a nice little washout. So I'm going to come after it here, guys.
I'm laughing so hard right now because I literally was just pulling up Disney and just going to mention, yeah, the same thing. And they had this really interesting wick down yesterday. Not just to trade the pool thing. I was across the whole market. So I don't know if that was a late print or some kind of block trade or what, but a lot of times those will indicate a price target. So I'm still looking for that move down to, what is that, 110.30?
Yeah, I took a little starter there, short there on Disney. I took a 111.49s. Willing to add up here into like the 60s. But if it just flushes right now, I'll just let it go with the 50 shares and let it work, right? It could be like about a buck trade if it goes well. So I'm going to leave that going here. Let me go back to NVIDIA. Really looking for NVIDIA to give me a quick little pullback into this prior resistance area around the 881, 880 range. Then I can take my shot for it to come back here towards the 888. And if I do come after NVIDIA, of course, I have to size down, right? It's an $800 stock. I can't go crazy and buy 100 shares immediately because that's an easy way to get wrecked, right? So like always, whenever we change from going from a $3 stock to an $800 stock, always take into account how much capital you're putting in here, how much capital you're putting at risk. I don't think it makes too much of a difference if you're going for the NVDL or you're going for the NVIDIA straight up. You'd be surprised what just like a couple of shares can do for you in a trade like NVIDIA, right? Like let's say like NVIDIA, I could even get it. It sounds weird, but I could get it at a share each time I'm buying it, and I could still make good money. I've made good money on NVIDIA with 5 shares. So you'd be surprised.
It adds up quickly. And holding steady or small gains is better than big losses any day. So
yeah. And one thing is when you go at it at like, let's say like those small amount share size, right? You can kind of do what I like to do, which is sometimes play like an algorithm myself. What do I mean by that? So like maybe like order size and do a ladder. Like maybe it's like 881, 880, 879. And then I'm getting the average of 880 if those triggers kind of hit as it's pulling back. That gives me an ability to, yes, I'm going to pay a little bit on some execution fees, but I would rather pay 75 cents to get a better entry than to be worried too much about execution fees and getting after in that way.
And I just put in I got a fill already on a partial stop, so I put those in on PG. So that's the one thing, if you are doing these pairs trades, especially because I didn't want to let this go forever, so I had a stop fill on my CL short. So I just made sure that if PG retraces on me, that I collect some of those profits, because that's one situation you can get into. You can have a winner and a loser. You stop out on your loser, but you're like, oh, it's all right, I still have my winner. And then if the winner retraces, then you're in a world of hurt. So one thing you want to make sure to
Orders are out to start
stay on
getting
top
in,
of.
guys. I did the same thing that we just talked about. I'm a proponent of saying what I'm going to do and then actually being able to do it. So here you guys see it on NVIDIA. I just took one share at 881. I have an order out for 880 and then an order out for 879. Let's see what happens with these. Let's see if I can get another share, and then eventually I'll start adding on the way back as we start to make the push. Smash the like, guys, if you guys enjoy me taking a trade brought to you guys from in the chat. So like always, guys, we're here to let you guys run the show too. Let us know what you guys like and what's working for you. Of course, you guys also see, of course, my Twitter tag there. I'm going to be adding more and more morning information. So if you're those types of traders that are like me and up early, trying to get the news, trying to get ready, stay up with my Twitter, guys. I will be putting out some nice news for you guys. And we're going to keep pushing, trying to keep you guys informed. So hit me up, guys, at Money Mitch. And you guys see it _TTP. Don't miss it, of course, for Trade the Pool. All right, Disney not looking too bad. That's starting to get down there. My NVIDIA is starting to fill up here. So on that Disney, now I'm looking for like 1140s for an ad on Disney.
And I actually added on. I took a big short initially, and I just added on when it looked like it was breaking that level. I will cut this. I tell myself that I'll stick to my plan. I will cut this if it starts to bounce up, but to me, that weakness confirmed. Like, I don't know. I feel that wick sort of tells me something. So I'm gonna see if it plays out.
Yeah, I'm looking for a 111.45 ad, but we'll see what happens on that.
And my ad just ticked over, so that's just been a minute since that. So don't forget the 60-second ad to remove timer there. But so you do want to be, especially if you're adding to a winning position, you want to be a little more careful. Look for better entries, which is just good advice generally. But that way you can be in a good position. If you do have to cut it, you can afford to wait a few more seconds so that you can collect your profits on the position as a whole. Make sure that qualifies.
All right, guys, didn't get that third fill there, but I'm already in NVIDIA. I got an average so far at 880.45, which I think is a great average. Now I'm willing to add at 881 and keep it going here, guys. So just going to slowly add into this NVIDIA position, but willing to take a shot here. We'll see what happens. One of the things is also I'm seeing kind of like a trend line that it went to and held. So we'd like to see that trend line hold moving forward. Let's get after it, Trader Life. Know it. Right here on Trade the Pool, guys. How you guys doing in your accounts? Let us know, guys. Anybody close to hitting their goals? That's what I'm all about, man. We're here to pay it forward. Try to help you guys continue pushing forward in your success. All right. How did that how those smaller names kind of hanging in there? MRIN just hanging out, man. That thing hasn't done much today, but now it's starting to finally start making a turn a little bit. We'll see if it actually gets going later in the day. That WGS made it up there all the way to 1575, back to the highs. So that was an interesting one for sure, if you were able to nail that.
Still got CYCC as well pushing on the tape here. It's just keeping us. We had that kind of push into the VWAP where I closed that long trade there, but it then just come back and held the buy side liquidity, and again it keeps coming back onto the tape, and every pullback it's happening, that fresh money seems to be coming in. Obviously it can't break above this 206 right now, so we won't get that quick push up unless we can close above kind of 212, 215 now above this pull, but it's definitely trying. It does keep coming back on the tape here. It's just whether or not these momentum moving averages can hold it on the way up. As soon as they fail, then there's a higher chance of it coming back yet again. But those buy side pulls are getting closer and closer to the top of that sell side one now. Still kind of sitting, yes, albeit like 198, 197 right now for that. So keeping an eye on that, because we've seen these before just punch above that sell side if it breaks. So I'm not in it. I've still closed that position out at that high there at 209, but it's I feel like this is going to be one of those that kind of tries to squeeze going into or around lunchtime. It's got that sort of price action at the moment, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, not looking too bad in Disney. I want that to. Now I got 100 shares of Disney short from 111.47s. So now we'd really like to see this kind of start holding and not getting back above the kind of the 111.60 spot. So now can just like look for that cut down. And if it cuts 11.25, that's really what I want to see happen here. I think it could take out the 111s, and then we're getting 50 cents on the 100 shares. I'll look to sell some at 111 and then look for this to really start breaking down on the daily. The daily can really start letting go. And this looks a little bit to me like kind of a retracement that could get down to these daily levels, 110.34 potentially. So we'll see what happens there on Disney. Definitely one that I'm looking at. Quick trade on NVIDIA. You already got it. Hey, well, there you go. Power to you if you were able to just get that quick nail in, nail out. So now we're starting to prop here on the 883 spot. I could take an ad here and look to try to keep it going here, but that's what I'm going to be doing. Just going to try to time it right here, as I could have added more. You know, I have a small share size. I wanted to add more in towards the 879s and then keep adding at 881. But sometimes NVIDIA is just a beast and takes off on you. Still kind of holding in there for right now.
Got a rock and a hard place for me here. I've got the momentum play on that's just kind of triggered with that push up, but I'm right in. Actually, this is a sell side pull from the actual lows from the open to the highs. So it's like if this one cracks at 270, but that'd be a chase, but the entry's just hit there. The entry's just hit there on that momentum play, similar to this one up here. It's whether or not it's got the legs to get through.
Spiking, guys. Mullen spiking. That halt, I think it might have halted. Yeah, that looks like it held.
Yeah, that held 1825.
I'm telling you that's a hard play to play, guys. That Mullen, be careful out there with that one, guys. It's a fast mover. Walmart still on the leak. No, it's starting to bounce a little bit here. XLV now starting to make a little bit of a jump move. That doesn't look too bad. Of course, Eli Lilly, the top name in that space today. Healthcare is still holding up. Technology up about 0.41. Energy still taking a big beating, but starting to bounce back. So is communication services. Maybe those can start to get a little bit of a bounce back. How's gold? I love gold. All right, let's see what's going on. The gold not doing too much today. AU's the one that I like trading on that one, and that thing came down big on the daily. It could catch a little bit of comeback on the day. I'm going to be watching because it's a little bit of a gap fill type of play on that AU.
Oh no, BHC. Those of you who have seen me before, speaking of healthcare spinoffs,
there you go.
Those of you who've watched know that that's one of my perennial favorites.
Okay.
And eventually, supposedly they're supposed to get the BLCO shares distributed to BHC, but it's one of those things. Will it ever happen? Got a curling up here today. I don't know. It kind of looks like exhaustion to me, unless we get volume picking up here. Apparently, they've got an upgrade to buy. I'm not sure where. Piper Sandler maintained neutral. And 5 days ago, they had a study for dry eyes, which is cool.
All right, doesn't seem too bad there. That BHC. Let me put this up for you here.
I don't know. What do you think? That looks like it's weakening to me. That doesn't look like a real. All the volume also was on. On the sell candles. So.
That's the problem there. That candle, you're fighting that overhead resistance there at 9. I need to see it close over above 9 to show me that they want to bring it back, but at least on the daily.
Dry eye is a very interesting space, incidentally. Apparently the studies are hard. It's hard. If you see study news for dry eye, apparently it's hard to capture the positive results because apparently like the pain you get in your eyes is at a different time than the rest of the symptoms and vice versa. So it's very hard to get to nail down that correlation, but a few interesting players in that space. And I don't know about you, I wear contacts, so that's sort of close to my never gotten like clinical chronic dry eye, thank goodness. It sounds horrible, but staring at the screen all day. Remember to blink, everyone. Very important.
Yes. And turn your blue lights off after trading a lot of the times. That's what I like to do. I don't mind it being on while I'm trading because I want colors to look like colors, but after that, we got to watch those eyes. All right, looking at NVIDIA coming off of this kind of 9 EMA pullback. Doesn't look too bad there. I would like to see it dip through the 881 and then curl right back around, and then I can add to this. But I'll go ahead and I'll start getting in here on these pullbacks. Just need Disney to do a nice little breakdown. That would be nice. All right, guys, it's about 10:22. We got about kind of like a little under 40 minutes, right? 30 minutes left here, guys. Definitely smash the like. Let us know what you guys are trading, what you guys like to trade. If you guys like shorts, longs, I want to be able to definitely talk about different strategies that you guys can be playing. And if you guys have anything that's on your radar, you guys want to talk about, definitely bring it up. CrowdStrike showing up there on the down scanner. Did PayPal finally start making that? Yeah, PayPal starting to come back there. Square is definitely going to be on my radar now. Square, I kind of like this move here. I'm going to go ahead and try to grab a little bit of Square here. Off the 60s. Yeah, let me see if I can get 60 here.
So I had CYCC again here. It's a little bit lower than here and just under 210. And I'm hearing that on the tape, but I'm toying with this pre-market level here. It looks like it's just stopped calling CYCC out. So I was hoping that was going to continue and give me that push up to 244. But at the minute, definitely struggling around this pre-market kind of just after the switch on there at 219. So I'm just being careful on this one right now.
All right, I did get a little bit of that Square, guys. We'll see what happens on that one. 74.69, not the best entry there. Wanted 60s, but just wouldn't hit. It started to come up, jumped on it, and we'll see what happens on that one. Still short Disney and long NVIDIA.
Yeah, semis wise, I'm short ARM here. I'm bullish on ARM, as many of you know, long term, and hopeful for them to reclaim. But this pop here, it looked like it's just kind of flagging out, to be honest. We'll see, but I don't think it can hold this 104.35, at least not in the morning. So yeah, you're talking about that's reminding me to go get my blue filtering Gunar's glasses. I wish these guys were public. I would totally buy theirs.
All right, guys, it's added to that NVIDIA. Now we're getting a little bit of a pop here on the pullback. I'm going to add again here and just really start to try to take a shot here on that NVIDIA to start moving. Just looking at the offer here, trying to see it jump below the 882.50s, maybe like 882. There we go. Boom. That's what I was looking for. that quick little drop that we got right there. You guys watched it there. We'll see what happens here on NVIDIA. If it can really start moving here, taking a little bit of a shot there. Now I got 6 shares, willing to get up to like 10, but just got to be careful, right? Because this is a fast mover. Now I want to see it come and try to take out the 885, go to the 887.
Yeah, speaking of just random comment, for those of you interested in eye care or wearing contacts or whatever, AccuView Oasis, these guys, I guess fairly new. They have the Oasis Max, and those are actually blue filtering contact lenses. So they unfortunately don't have them for astigmatism yet, but they are great if you're looking at a screen or prone to migraines, things like that. So that is by Johnson & Johnson. I don't know how new they are. I just, the eye doctor told me they were new. So keep an eye on that. J&J, actually, incidentally, just as a separate matter, they are not looking too hot this morning. I wonder what's going on there.
Just got triggered out of block there. It's on the downturn there, out of that one. But Disney doing well as that starts to break down, and then we'll see what happens on NVIDIA as it starts to decline here. We're seeing a little bit of a decline. I think it might be a market overall. Let's see what happens in the market. SPY just kind of hanging out there. How's the Qs looking? Yeah, it's still kind of a little bit weak here. We'll see if it recovers. It's been kind of chopped going into FOMC, and that could be expected, right?
I don't know. What do you make of this? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, just got CYCC still working out. I'm hoping to get this punch up to 235. I'm going to hear it on the tape now. Just want to get that into just up 235 or 240 to take that one off. I don't know if it could squeeze any further up because there is a level at 4 above it, but not being greedy, I think I just want to get it off very close to this 235, 240 area. So we see how that goes. I'll update you in a sec. Sorry, Tim, where you go?
Yeah, I'm just curious what you see on Johnson & Johnson here, if you see anything, 'cause this is quite a big sell-off in the morning. I'm checking their news, but I'm curious what you see with your levels. And I guess yesterday they had a epilepsy drug candidate fail, but this seems, maybe it was just the selling just picked back up at the open or what, but that seems stronger move today than yesterday. So I took a short here. I love the contact lenses, but stock right now is not looking too good, especially if on that hourly chart that does not look healthy. So I bet we get back down to this wick here. What is that, 143.20 roughly? Let's see if I get a little. Trying to see if there's other catalysts here.
Mullen, that opened up. Yeah, it opened up. It's trading at 7, battling up there in the 7s. There it goes, 729, 740. She's a moving. That's for sure. It's a tough one though. Look at that. Just as easy as it gets to 740, back down to 7. So just be careful out there, team. Some fast moving action out there. Look at that. Mullen goes up to 740 on there. I saw 749. Let's see if it recovers 7.
I don't know if you chatted about this yet.
Yeah.
So apparently they've got somebody tagged Bristol Myers. So apparently J&J and Bristol Myers were challenging the drug price negotiation program. So that was late last night. But let's see. Published yesterday after the market close. That could be why it's selling off today. Challenge to a law requiring them to negotiate prices of their blood clot prevention with Medicare. So BMY would be the other one to look at there. Anyone following that J&J move? Let's see.
All right, seeing some downside action coming in there. Got out of NVIDIA, a little bit of a stop out there, and they've been small at least. I've been keeping them at like $20. think that one was a little bit over that. That was 26 on NVIDIA. So just keeping them small, trying to keep it battling. Of course, wins should be around the $60 range. So we'll see what happens on Disney. That's already at like 30 and coming down towards the 111.15. So Disney's still looking good there. Even looking at SQQQ here, as I'm seeing the Qs start to pull back. AMD, we'll see what happens on that, if that can actually bounce back. But NVIDIA taking a quick dip there. SMCI is another one that kind of keep watch if that can dip there. And some of these leaders start to take a hit. That's one thing to keep an eye out for. On semiconductor, big pullback. We'll see if that starts to come right back to the upside.
Yeah, the NQ just seemed to kind of make its decision there. Again, it failed once at that sell side, failed twice at that sell side, then took a look through and then just whipped through that buy side liquidity. So I'm thinking that's going to be the gap now between there and working its way down to that 788.
Just got my first profit on that ARM short. Disney, some profit coming off. And J&J BMY. BMY, actually, this looks, at a glance, looks kind of bear flaggy to me. But there's more room to the upside there. So I'm actually, even though I don't feel strong about it, I'm going to take that as a long, just as kind of a hedge, because I think of the two involved in that story, it seems to be the stronger one. And the risk is more to the upside than the downside here. Which is, incidentally, I saw, I forget which investment bank or something, but some analysts put that out, that they were seeing that going into this FOMC. Seems people are really starting to bake in the, not hikes, but lack of cuts, higher for longer, or at least high for longer type thing. But it's funny that they act like it's a surprise.
Yeah, they act like it's a surprise. You know how it is, man. The narrative gets twisted left and right. And I mean, the one thing that was clearly said all throughout last year, we're going to keep it until we see sustained inflation down. I think that's the key word there that he said. So multiple reports continuing, and it just, there's no need for them to cut. The market's fine. Everything's fine. They're making money. Do you think they want to stop that? I mean,
if anything, I would almost I'd be happy if the rates went higher, but I'm a
right.
Person,
like, just
for overall health. I mean, it's I see it. I work, I bartend like Monday nights. It's in a grocery store though, so I see there, and just from shopping too. Obviously, like I don't see inflation slowing in some places. Even I see some things inflation speeding up.
Yeah.
I don't follow lasagna like Kashkari does, but you know.
You know that lasagna, man, it gets you. But definitely the inflation is crazy out there. And then the housing hasn't really broken, right? That's another thing that hasn't broken. And I think that's what needs to kind of, the shelter inflation is just ridiculous.
Yep. I'm hearing from a few people actually. So that's one thing that's great about bartending is you get, I don't know, if somebody comes in with a hot tip or whatever, take it with a grain of salt. But, sometimes people work in different industries, and there's a few people that work in construction or real estate or whatever, and they say things are picking up,
Yeah.
So new construction even. So I was just checking, we had pending home sales last Thursday. When do we get the new home sales numbers? I didn't really follow that one closely. Did you follow those
new
numbers?
Home sales? I can take a look.
Sales?
Yeah, I can take a look there. I'll just take a look. I use Benzinga Pro for kind of economic data. I'll take a look right now. I'm looking to see if we could break 111 here on Disney, and then I can take some profits here, guys. It just got really close. It went to 111.08. So I was like literally hand on the trigger there, ready to take some profits. Would love to see this break the 111s here, then get into that kind of 110 range. I can take majority of off and then kind of leave the remainder as a runner. We'll see what happens there in Disney. To the short side, the dark side is here. The dark side, the evil shorts.
Yeah. Well, with Steamboat Willie coming out of copyright protection. Finally, they stopped extending it, so now people have started putting out these Disney parodies and these. I know somebody was doing the Reedy Creek Improvement District. There was that whole controversy and everything going on there, that legal battle. But so he's making some kind of parody using all the Steamboat Willie art, and he's calling it CD Creek. So I'm sure Disney loves that. But let's see here. That reminds me, I need to have my.
Oof, man, that WGS, man, what a miss on that one. I was looking for that kind of 450 pullback. I got picky because the spread was a little wide when it pulled back to this 450 range. And we were looking at it when it was up here at 1490s. But look at that takeoff. That's the type of trade that we needed today. That one's a big one. So Carmen, shout out Carmen in the chat, because Carmen brought it up early. And one thing that she was looking for was some volume pickup. So look, it's right here. I'll bring it up. You see Carmen's comment back at 949. So 949, we were talking like over here. So that's one thing that I always like to see, right? And point out when you guys make great calls like that, you know, of course, we're not here. It's about the alert, but look back on it. That was a really good outlook there around 949 on WGS. Shout out to you, Carmen.
So, Mitch, the topic of the day is the, how to, what's the process that you go through in order to trade these earning plays? Obviously, we had a whole raft of them that this week being earning seasons and last. So what's have you got like 10 minutes to just talk about the process that you go through from start to finish to pick them out and how you whittle them down to the ones you play?
Definitely. So what I'm going to do for this is, guys, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch over and I'm going to show you guys a little bit of Benzinga Pro here. I'll actually leave it right here on the screen here. Actually,
while
let me
you're
switch
lining
it over.
that up, actually, I'll just do a call out real quick. I actually
go
got
for
it
it,
from
Tim.
the Benzinga squawk and feed here. There's the or not the squawk, but the feed, but the ADM Archer Daniels Midland apparently had some positive news on their let's see, regenerative agriculture. So I'm looking at that. It looks like they had a sell off this morning, but it looks like a strong bounce. So got that.
All right.
Shout out to Benzinga for calling that out to me.
It's important. It's important to have tools. I talk about it all the time, guys. Having paid tools might just help you, right? It's not always just the free stuff, right? I always say that you got to have tools. You guys see me using a charting service, TC2000. You guys see me using Benzinga Pro. You guys see me using Trade the Pool. There's a reason why. I try to use the best and try to have tools that can help me find where the stocks are and what's moving, right? So another thing that we'll be looking at is after the close, what's going to come after the bell? Well, there's some big names, of course, coming. Of course, we got AMD kind of coming on tonight after the close. And a lot of times what I'm looking at is, all right, so what's the estimates? Well, the estimates are here, right? The estimates are kind of a given, right? That's kind of a known. Everybody's looking for them. But what I really like to do is something a little bit more. So I will go into, let's say, like SMCI, right? SMCI is also reporting tonight. So let me go ahead and just kind of get to you to a details page to kind of just check that out. I'll do it right over here. Let's go over here. All right, there you go. So I have it right here to the right-hand side. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll kind of zoom in. Now, one thing that I always look for is how does this company do on reports in the past? So right here in this column, the surprise percentage EPS, this just tells me a very simple outlook on how this company has done in the past. So kind of in like the last 2 or 3 years, has there been any miss on the EPS? Not much. There's only one instance when they have missed. So this gives me a little bit more confidence that they could beat, right? A lot of this is also going to depend on the market overall that day, because if that day is just a negative day, you could run into some overhead because of the macro situation. But another thing here, surprise revenue only has missed once in the last kind of like 4 years. So that tells me more and more that I can look to see if maybe they can beat their numbers tonight and get a lift. And so a lot of times you get some play into these numbers. But one thing that I want to look at is how this stock performs on average after the fact, after their earnings. And you can see a lot of beats there on the EPS. So in this case, I'd be leaning towards more of them beating. Now the question is the bar too high and things like that? Those are the things that I'd be asking myself when looking at earnings play. Anything you guys want to add to the conversation on earnings?
No, only just the fact that I try and, I don't know whether it saves me time, but I just a lot of the time, any given day, if I'm looking for something that's moving that isn't a kind of small cap pop kind of thing, I always look at that relative volume. So I normally go on to those earnings. And no matter what the scanner looks like, but I'd always filter on the relative volume highest, because sometimes it can say, yeah, okay, like you said, it's the surprise that kind of matters. It's not necessarily, did they hit, the market moves when the surprise comes in over and above kind of like 10%. And then that's when they like it. If it's over and above 10%, then they're going to push that, and that's going to get an increased relative volume. So anything above kind of 2, ideally 2.5 relative volume on the day of those releases is the stock that I'm going to kind of look to put on the watch list.
And one thing I like to look for is, we get those. I think it's from Earnings Whispers, but I'm sure there's more where they put in the options implied move and then the analyst estimate. And one thing that I've done a couple times in the past, trying to make a habit of it, is looking for those cases where the options and they list the average previous move. So I like to look for things where, hey, is the options implied move less than the amount they tend to move in the past? And then it's like, all right, well, maybe, right? Regression to the mean, right? What are the odds? They're going to have the same type of move as in previous earnings. So
I think that's something definitely to look into, and then people look at this all the time. There's different options services that you can look at to find that. I know Options AI is one that I've used in the past to find things like that, the expected move and what it's done in the past. And sometimes you'd be surprised. The expected move is insane, and the stock on average doesn't really move that much off of earnings. So things like that can be where you can find edge, right? That's what we're all looking for as traders. I know I've definitely enjoyed having Tim today join us. Definitely smash the like for Tim joining in and bringing us some nuggets. And we're going to be looking forward to some of the Discord outlook, right? I know that you've already mentioned some of these recaps that you've been doing and different kind of education that you've been providing, Tim. So let's just talk about it one more time before we get out of here. It's about 10:42, guys. We'll be wrapping up in about, I would say, about like 13 minutes. But it's been an interesting day, and we'll get to our recap coming up.
Cool. So today, actually, this afternoon, I know we have a few people interested in those more advanced features on the trading software. I showed a few of the use cases, but 1:45 today, we're going to be talking about just usage patterns. So how to kind of optimize your trading strategy to work with the funding rules on Trade the Pool, how to make use of the software features. And then tonight tomorrow, Thursday, we've got just different book clubs and videos we're watching. Tomorrow afternoon, I will highlight this one, 4:15, right after the market close. Tamara will be doing a balance sheet deep dive. So like I said, we've been watching the Martin Shkreli's class on reviewing balance sheets and things like that, getting a quick eye on what's going on there. So she's going to do a deep dive. We're going to pick a couple companies. We're going to dive in and look at their balance sheets live together. And she's bringing that from, she's actually a accountant, and she is studying, I think, a graduate program in something related there. So we have an expert in the house, and looking forward to what she has to share with us.
Yeah, that's always good to bring on the experts, man. And balance sheets is something definitely to learn, guys. You can always take analysis from everybody else, but there's nothing like doing it yourself.
And the better you get it quickly, just, same thing with the stuff on medical research, right? Like the more you can, if there's a sector that you can specialize in a little bit, but the better you get at being able to look at a headline and see if it's, positive bias headline, but then you realize, wait a second, this is overstating it a little bit. Maybe this is downplaying, or maybe this doesn't actually mean anything. Then you can kind of get ahead of that market move. Because even the algos, right? They're going to go on keywords, and your average retail trader, they're just going to look at the headline, good, bad, and go from there. So if you can develop that insight of being able to quickly glance over something and get a more nuanced view, you'll be ahead of the game.
All right. On semiconductor, making a nice little pivot turn there. I'm going to show you that, guys, very quickly here. Let me go ahead and just share screen there. On semiconductor, nice little lift there. after a hot morning, and now starting to try to push again. We'll see what happens there overall. Q's now pushing right back up. Wouldn't you know it? A little bit of a fake out to the downside and quickly sweeping right back to the upside. So we'll see what happens in the rest of the day. Technology still taking lead in the sector game. And then downside, of course, energy just been on a big leak on the day. We'll see what happens with the tech names tonight, their report, and definitely some interesting ones. I know I'll be watching also Invitation Homes and stuff like that. That's something that's a little bit different, right? That doesn't get watched often, but I can tell you right now, rent isn't going down, and don't expect it to change anytime soon. So this is one that I might take a little bit of an earning shot tonight on Invitation Homes. We'll see what happens. Maybe a little swing trade action tonight. You guys want to keep up with some swing trades, of course, you guys can keep up with my Twitter. That's where I'll announce a lot of the swing trades as they go on, especially if they don't go on during the show. That's where I'll be posting them so that you guys can keep up with the action. Toll Brothers and names like that, right? I mean, the REITs have not been too bad. Real estate doing pretty well on the day today.
And, for market tools as well, I think, the real-time news as well. There's been a couple times when you see a sudden move across a bunch of names and it's like, whoa, what just happened? You're digging it up. So if you have the Squawk, right? The Benzinga's not the only one. I know there's like News Squawk and some others. Benzinga, I think, is the best I've seen so far. It's the one I have. But there's a few Telegram feeds I'm plugged into, like, if there's a conflict region, like you can, a lot of governments will have things where they'll put out news releases, and just different analysts. So the more you can get something where the news comes across as it's happening, I think that's the one thing where if I forget to turn that on or I'm not paying attention, like I really feel like I'm flailing around in the market. So I think the Squawk feeds are one of the best things you can get.
Interesting to see Lending Tree making such a big move today. That's not a bad move there for Lending Tree. I don't see that stock make this type of move often. So look at the daily chart. I mean, you probably can't find a candle like that on the daily chart. So interesting move there in Tree. And that's also in the space of AGBA. So one of the top movers of the day. Valero trading lower as looks like Barclays did a lowering of the price target. So definitely some oil names taking a hit today. XOM really hasn't fallen too much there from Grace. Chevron definitely falling down there. Valero taking a nice little beating on the downside. Oil names definitely big pullback on the day. For intraday action, maybe Drip. Drip, of course, inverse leverage play. Don't know if you guys use those too often, but nothing like some little leverage plays sometimes. Financial services getting a little bit of a lift there. Utilities were down early and now starting to make its way back. That's one that I'm going to keep an eye out for. Kind of just retracements on the 1 hour and then it's starting to recover for the rest of the day. So swing trades could be on XLU or Duke or something like that.
There we go. BMY is pushing up. It has almost filled the gap back up there. J&J still sort of floundering around down there, so that has worked out.
Not bad.
Don't know how many attempts MULN is going to have at this level. It's literally, I don't. You can count them,
man.
It's what on earth? It just it doesn't want to budge through that level. But if it breaks and holds above 750 now, I think that's going to really get some volume coming in. But still looks sell side to me at the minute. But it's well up there. It's well up there. It's only the fact that it's in that benchmark. I've still got to target out 510 if it can get it. But it's trying. PHG didn't ever really come back for that deep pullback that I wanted. The momentum trade was kind of on there. There was two momentums right on the open, that rejection play where the green to red move on there, just carrying on down, and another one kind of here at 27 down for $0.50 down there, and then now it's just kind of sideways. What am I talking about? It was yesterday's. Let me talk to you about today's action. It realised I zoomed out on the time there. So yeah, we're hitting this sell side liquidity on PHG, and the buy side's holding as well, hence not a lot going on there. You're building yourself up a pennant this morning, so nothing else going on in PHG today other than that.
Seeing a few things bounce. Are you still in Disney there, Mitch?
Yeah, I'm just hanging, man. Just hanging in Disney.
So I just kind of retraced. I saw a few things suddenly start moving up. So that ADM, thanks again to the Benzinga feed for that, is doing nicely. But I don't know. You think we got a change in character here? You think it's just the last 10 minutes before the hour things are...
well, the Qs are chopping around, right? We got the overall market just on a little bit of a chop up. And I think that the one thing that just keep a watch on is how technology overall is doing, because those are the big kind of earnings that come in tonight, right? You got Amazon, AMD, SMCI. That's where a lot of eyes will be tonight. Amazon's a big tell, right? Like, what do you see Amazon doing right now? You see it hanging around, right? It could still recover on the day. It could have been one of those days where, and this is a psychology move, right? Where it's like, all right, well, wash out the opening traders, the day traders, and then lunchtime algos come and be like, okay, well, we expect a beat on that Amazon. Let's just ride it into the close. So selling the open and then buying the close is something that I'll be looking at for Amazon and some of the tech names overall. Of course, Amazon has had a good year already, so could pull back, but that's where I think the eyes will be, especially after the bell, right? Everyone's going to be watching Amazon to see what happens there. Apple's been trying to come back, right? It had a decent day yesterday. It's just been hanging in there today. How's Tesla doing? Ooh, to the downside goes Tesla. Maybe that's Stellantis news coming in and really kind of ruining that. Stellantis continuing down. We talked about that before the bell. And I talked about maybe weakness in Ford and GM, and maybe that could have been a play right there. Ford down big, GM not looking too bad either, just continuing on that leak. Another one that I thought could maybe leak off of that was Rivian. It's hung in there right now. It's off this 914. Maybe it could start making a move back down through towards 9, but there's not much skin in the game there to come after.
Just looking at that, I don't want to try and guess the earnings, of course, but from the high of the 12th of April to the spike low there, that's the sell side liquidity that's been sitting there. We did see something very similar on Meta as that happened, because Meta was hanging around up there for ages before it reached that last sell side and then decided to dump off it. But I'm not feeling that from Amazon, but who knows? What does it matter what you think or feel? When that news comes out, it will do what it will do. But just day-to-day stuff. That's what I've got there, is that sell side liquidity sitting right up there.
All right, traders. Square, MRIN, and NVIDIA. The losses on the day for me today. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a quick little recap. Then let Scott and Tim go and let you guys hear some of their recap. But really quickly, here you guys have it. I always like to give you guys the actual trade the pool here. You guys can see it. A little bit of a struggle right now. But, hey, one of the things is consistency. And sometimes consistency can also be consistency on the loss side. I know this might not sound like the most sexiest thing, but the truth is that you want to have some kind of planned attack, right? And even though I'm trading from a $800 stock to a $74 stock to an MRN, which was a $3 stock, the average losses were around the same level, right? And I think this is an important thing to kind of keep up, because what is that going to do is that's going to give me what I call mathematical advantage, right? The mathematical advantage is focusing on the profit to loss ratio. A lot of times I'm trying to do like a 3-to-1 return. So that means I'm trying to make, like say $3 for the $1 that I'm risking. So in this case, right, if I'm still going about this, one good trade could essentially cover today's losses, even 3 losses. So things like that, are definitely one way to stay in the edge. But I'll let you guys do a little quick recap. What you got for me, Scott, or if you want, you can go, Tim.
I got you. It's first trade up, if I could just put it on the correct screen, was Tesla, which actually, let's bring Tesla up because I think what we've got here on Tesla was I was playing this best execution level, if I can get the scale right on this, bear with me. So I'm playing this best execution level, and this has caught me out a few times on Tesla when it gets that close and I'm like, yeah, that's it. And that's what I've done, is entered off of what I thought was the best execution level there. And that candle, as it come in, just dumped on my entry there, and then it come back to, well, best execution, which was a tad higher up, and my stop was up there with it. So not practicing what I preached there. I should have had my stop at least a little bit above that best execution level, but at the time when that downside momentum come in, it just felt a little bit like that was it. And then CYCC is the trade that paid for the Tesla trade, actually. So this one was a couple of hits at it. Let's bring this up on Trade the Pool. So we had this coming up here. So the first buy straight out of the buy side liquidity pool, it was coming on the tape, covered it directly into the VWAP there, and sell side liquidity, and it dumped straight off it. But the key thing here was every time it was coming back down, that money flow was coming in and the tape was getting stronger and stronger. So added again to that here around about 213, and I was looking for that push up to 235, right? But we didn't get it. I had that in my ear constantly on this up push, and then it just fell silent up there around 226. So as soon as I heard that, I covered the trade, and then afterwards we pulled back, hit that sell side, which is a short for me anyway, down to the 190 level. I haven't heard it on the tape since. So yeah, for me, it's getting deeper into that buy side at the moment, then now tapping in again. So we'll see. I still think it's going to have a squeeze on it as opposed to a fade from now onwards, but we'll see what happens on that on CYCC. So that's me, Tim.
Yes, absolutely. So, yeah, just a few things. So I actually had, I was up another $100 unrealized plus my fills, and things kind of took a sudden turn. So I'm kind of seeing where things shake out. But either way, we're kind of at a decision point for a lot of things. I need to free up some buying power. I might short target here. But yeah, seeing if this ADM holds, seeing if Bristol Myers keeps up its momentum. Seeing if ARM keeps dropping, and then I think it's going to be like the moment of truth for Disney here. And this is an interesting one. Would love your guys' take real quick before we wrap up. CL, look at this pop all of a sudden. That just whoop, right at the 57 minutes. So that was interesting. So I'll either be out of that trade or that'll reverse. But yeah, pretty much even for the morning so far, and having a lot of fun so far too. So.
All good, sounds good. So what time we got there? 1 minute until we close. So I think that's it. I think you're right there, Nolly. Yeah, it was an inside day so far on the cues on the overall market. So yeah, looking a little hard to trade that this morning, but we give it our best shot. But it's a bit break even for me, like we say. But that's all right. That's all right. If we can stay break even on inside days when there's no trend, and then that's good for me. No problems at all. So thank you everyone for being in the chat. Mitch, you got something to say?
Alrighty, like always, guys, just keep up the battle, right? It's always not necessarily about what the results are, but how we're trying to go from a strategy to execution, right? I always take a look at that, and sometimes it makes sense to give yourself a pat on the back, even for some losses. Why? Because they're on our execution. We're determining when to get in, when to get out, and what's your max pain. We'll see you guys next time. Stay tuned. Like always, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and always follow us on Twitter. We'll keep it going right here. Trade the pool, guys. Where else can you be?